Do you believe that a single slice of pizza could spark a cultural war that's lasted for decades? Sounds exaggerated, right? But it's true. If you ask a New Yorker and a Chicagoan, what's the best pizza in America? You might get a death stare in return. And of course, you'll get two completely opposite answers. Question for you: have you ever tried New York style or Chicago style pizza? Are you team thin and crispy or team thick and cheesy? Drop a comment below and let us know. Pizza, this seemingly simple food, actually carries a whole story of culture, immigration, and local pride in America. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic weird food facts in US history, the rivalry between New York style and Chicago deep dish. Who really deserves the crown? Quick rehook, don't leave too soon. There's a twist at the end of this story that might just surprise you, especially if you think you already know everything about pizza. Let's go back to the early 20th century, when waves of immigrants from Italy arrived in the United States. They brought along their traditional recipes, and among them, pizza was the hidden gem. At the time, pizza wasn't as beloved as it is today. It was cheap street food, sold to working-class immigrant communities. So what changed? In 1905, the first pizzeria in America, Lombardi's, opened in Manhattan, New York. From there, an icon was born. New York-style pizza emerged from a practical need, a cheap, convenient meal that could be eaten on the go, perfectly suited to the hustle of the city that never sleeps. Thin crust, crispy edges, just the right amount of cheese, with a slightly tangy tomato sauce. New York style isn't fancy, but it leaves a lasting impression. One bite and you can practically taste the spirit of New York. But what about Chicago? Chicago's story starts a little later, around 1943, when a pizzeria called Pizzeria Uno decided to do things differently. Instead of a thin crust, they pressed the dough into a deep pan, pie style, then layered it with heaps of cheese, sausage, meat, veggies, and finally, poured the tomato sauce on top. Yes, you heard that right, the sauce goes on top. Chicago-style pizza is like a pizza pot pie, thick, heavy, and after one slice, you'll probably want to take a nap. The difference between these two styles isn't just in the dough, it's in the personality of the cities themselves. New York, fast, busy, electric, needs a pizza that's compact and portable. Chicago, a bit slower, with a culture of savoring the moment, created a pizza that's rich, indulgent, and unapologetically American. New Yorkers eat their pizza standing on a subway platform. Chicagoans sit down, order a Coke, and slowly slice into their meal. Makes sense, doesn't it? And get this, during the 1970s and 1980s, the pizza war between these two cities was even fueled by major newspapers like the New York Times and Chicago Tribune. Each side published articles mocking the other's version of what real American pizza should be. One food critic from New York famously wrote, "Chicago deep dish isn't pizza. It's a casserole in disguise." The Chicagoans clapped back instantly. At least our pizza doesn't need to be folded in half just to eat it. Behind all that cheeky banter was a moving picture of American culture in motion, immigration, regional pride, and the ongoing blend of tradition with modern life. Before we go deeper into how these two styles influenced the American food industry, here's a fun thought. What if someone tried to combine them? A New York thin crust, loaded with Chicago-style deep dish fillings. Would that be the real American dream? Drop your ideas in the comments, especially if you love weird food facts like this one. I'd love to hear how you imagine it. Back to the pizza war, it's not just about who makes the better crust or who adds more cheese, it actually shapes how Americans perceive their own food culture. Ever since pizza became a national favorite, restaurant chains started popping up like mushrooms after rain. From Domino's to Papa John's, and interestingly, most of them chose to follow the New York style, or at least a simplified version of it. But why? The reason is simple: New York style is easier to replicate, easier to transport, and fits perfectly into the busy, modern lifestyle. But this also made many Chicagoans feel disrespected. They believe pizza shouldn't be fast food. It should be a ritual, an experience. You sit down, slice into a thick, hot piece, and eat slowly to savor each layer of melted cheese. One time, I spoke with an Italian-American uncle from Chicago. He said, "Pizza isn't something you eat in a rush. It's a way to connect, with friends, family, and history." Hearing that, I suddenly felt, oddly moved. And it got me thinking, maybe, in a way, pizza is a miniature version of America itself. A country of immigrants, where every community brought its own food, and over time, adapted it, to fit into their new home. A place where even pizza, the same dish, demands authentic ownership depending on which city you're in. This is exactly the kind of thing that makes weird food facts so fascinating, the way a dish can reflect an entire society's identity crisis. But honestly, both sides are right. Just like culture, it never stands still, it always evolves. New York and Chicago pizzas are both children of immigrants, but they were born and raised in two very different ways. So if you're someone who loves simplicity, speed, and eating while waiting for your train, New York style is probably your go-to. But if you believe meals are sacred moments, times to slow down and enjoy every flavor, then Chicago's deep dish might just be your destiny. A quick question for you, are there any dishes in Vietnam that are divided just like this? Bun Bua Hu or Pho Hanoi? Con Tam from Saigon or Bun Dao from the north? Share your thoughts in the comments, who knows, it might inspire a future episode of Weird Food Facts. To be fair, people today are getting creative with peaceful hybrids, stuffed crust pizza, wood-fired fusion, or even sushi pizza. Every innovation feels like an attempt to bridge both extremes and say, we all love pizza. Let's stop fighting. And I think that's beautiful. Because culture doesn't need to pick sides, it just needs to be understood and appreciated. To wrap up today's story, I'll leave you with this thought. What may look like just a slice of pizza to you, actually holds history, memory, and identity. So next time you're holding a slice, whether it's thin and crispy or thick and loaded, close your eyes. Think about the hands that made it. Think about Manhattan in 1905. About Italian voices mingling with English in a tiny immigrant pizzeria. About an America that's messy, yet beautiful and full of life. Who knows, that slice of pizza might just taste a little better that day. Thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed this story, or if you're a sucker for weird food facts like this, hit that follow so you don't miss the next episode in this cultural podcast series. And don't forget to share this with your pizza-loving friends. Because every dish has a story. And it's waiting for you to listen.